I call the public hearing to order for our Tangipahoa Parish Council meeting for May the 28th. We have several items on public hearing. There are two items, actually the first one on the Parker Branch Solar and also on the Kratom item that we're going to wait until that comes up on the agenda to have the public input on those. So the first item is Resolution 2415, a resolution of the Tangipahoa Parish Council / President Government for Parker Branch Solar LLC to proceed with the permitting process for renewable energy power plant in District 4. And that will be on the agenda, and we'll have public comment on that at that time. TP Ordinance 2417, an ordinance to amend Chapter 18, Fire Prevention and Protection, Section 18-3, Fire Prevention Bureau. Anyone want to speak on that item? The next one is TP Ordinance 2418, an ordinance to amend Chapter 34, Offensive and Miscellaneous Provisions, Section 3416, prohibiting the sale of kratom or any of its analog in Tangipahoa Parish. And again, that'll be on the agenda, and we'll speak on that then. TP Ordinance 2420, an ordinance to amend Chapter 38, Solid Waste. Does anyone want to speak on that item? TP Ordinance 2421, an ordinance to acquire ownership of right-of-ways for H. Cologne Road widening project in Laranja, to authorize the parish president to sign and execute all necessary documents to provide for the recordation and to provide copies to all involved parties. Anyone to speak on that item? The next one is TP Ordinance 2422, an ordinance to acquire ownership of right-of-ways for the state project H.1014265 North River Road Bridge over Irving Branch Bridge Replacement Project in Kentwood, to authorize the parish president to sign and execute any documents on that. Anyone here to speak on that item? The last one is TP Ordinance 2423, an ordinance declaring surplus TPG asset miscellaneous 0243 22357 Brignac Road in Robert, assessment 2306603. This is to authorize the parish president or his designee to sign any and all documents in regard to the sale and transfer of said property in District 2. Anyone to speak
we'll
on
be
that?
pulling that.
Okay. All right. We'll go ahead and call our regular business meeting to order. If you have a cell phone, please mute it or turn it off. We'll have invocation by Councilman Joseph, and I will lead the Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay. Thank you, Councilwoman Hyde. Before I say the prayer, I just want to take a few minutes to thank the citizens of this parish, which I call the most patriotic parish in the state, for their love and concern shown for my fellow veterans. As you all know, yesterday was Memorial Day, and there was an outpouring of flags that I saw all over, and it just made me feel good knowing that those guys and girls have not been forgotten by the citizens of Tangipahoa Parish. Also, I'm asking for special prayers for, this is a platoon of soldiers that we sent overseas for 1 year from Covington, the 1021st platoon, and I'm asking for prayers for those soldiers, prayers for their family members, and prayers for their families and friends that they left behind, and ask God to get them back to us safely. So let's keep them in your prayers as well. Heads bowed, please. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the many blessings we have received. We thank you for our health. We thank you for our strength. We thank you for our peace of mind, our families, and we thank you for our friends. We ask that you bless this meeting this afternoon by giving the leadership all the wisdom, the knowledge, the understanding to make all those decisions that are pleasing in your sight. And we'll be ever mindful to give you all the honor, all the glory, and all the praise. And Lord, we ask that you bless our first responders, our military personnel, and I'm told today that the city of Ponchatoula lost one of their finest police officers. May her soul rest in peace. And let's pray for comfort for the family. And Lord, we ask that again for the military personnel because they are constantly in harm's way. Even training can be an ordeal. So let's make sure when we get on our knees, ask God to take care of our military personnel, their families, our first responders, all of our police officers, and all those people who run toward danger and not away from danger. Again, bless them, Lord, and bless their families. And we'll be ever mindful to give you all the honor, all the glory, and all the praise. And all God's children within the sound of my voice respond by saying, Amen.
Amen. All veterans and active military, please render the proper salute. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Ojimas.
Mr. Zoo, would you call roll, please?
Mr. Sinagra.
Here.
Mr. Ingraffia.
Here.
Mr. Joseph.
Present.
Mr. Havis.
Here.
Mr. Richtel.
Here.
Mr. Mayhew.
Here.
Mr. Wells.
Here.
Mr. Vial. Ms. Hyde.
Here.
Ms. Ciotat.
Here.
All right. Hopefully everyone's had a chance to look over the minutes from the May 13th meeting. I'll entertain a motion to approve those.
I'll make the motion. Second.
Have a motion by Mr. Sinagra, second by Mr. Ingraffia. Roll call, please.
Mr. Ingraffia.
Yes.
Mr. Joseph.
Yes.
Mr. Havis.
Yes.
Mr. Richtel.
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew.
Yes.
Mr. Wells.
Yes.
Ms. Hyde.
Yes.
Ms. Ciotat.
Yes.
Mr. Sinagra.
Yes.
All right, public input. Anyone wishing to address an agenda item that was not on public hearing? Okay. We'll have President Miller come and give us his report.
Good evening. We only have a few items. The first one is the financial reports. You all should have it in your emails and or hard copies. Any questions you have about the financial statements for the parish, please call our staff and make sure you get all information you need. So the first item with action is approval to hire a contractor to cut the grass at 11173 Highway 22 West in Ponchatoula. The assessment number is 1771418. This is in District 6. Once we do this, we'll then lien the property for the cost of the contractor and administrative cost.
I'll make that motion. It looks like I looked at the paperwork that they've been dealing with it for a while, so I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Mr. Mayhew, second by Mr. Wells. Roll call, please.
Mr. Joseph.
Yes.
Mr. Havis.
Yes.
Mr. Richtel.
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew.
Yes.
Mr. Wells.
Yes.
Ms. Hyde.
Yes.
Ms. Ciotat.
Yes.
Mr. Sinagra.
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia.
Yes.
Thank you. The next item is similar or the same. Approval to hire a contractor to cut the grass at 42498 Happy Woods Road, Hammond. Assessment number 1893009. This is also in District 6. And once we have that done, we will lien the property for the cost of cutting the grass and administrative costs.
I'll make that motion. I think it's the same scenario, so.
I'll second.
All right, I have a motion by Mr. Mayhew, second by Mr. Joseph. Roll call, please.
Mr. Havis.
Yes.
Mr. Richtel.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayhew.
Yes.
Mr. Wells.
Yes.
Ms. Hyde.
Yes.
Ms. Ciotat.
Yes.
Mr. Sinagra.
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia.
Yes.
Mr. Joseph.
Yes.
If you don't mind, on those two items, and Mr. Mayhew alludes to it, our staff does all they can to work with the property owner to let them clean it up. And we give them as many opportunities as we possibly can. If they're making progress, we continue to work with them and monitor the situation. So it's not like we just immediately hit them with a contractor coming in. There's been ample opportunity for our citizens, the property owner, to comply and work with us. So when we get to this point, it's well overdue. And I'm sure the neighbors are grateful that we're getting this done. I will say that it's not a manicure job. It's to get the weeds under control and knock it down and hopefully get the owner moving again. But we will continue to monitor it. And the second item I'd like to say is to thank all the citizens for being here. I know that we have some items on the agenda that are of interest, and we really appreciate the opportunity to hear them and encourage the input So many times whenever we go places and we are about, people say they don't get the input that they would like. Well, here it is, and it represented that these folks definitely got the notices and are here to make sure we hear what they have to say. So thank you all for being here. And I have any questions? Great, thank y'all.
Thank you. All right, under regular business, our first item is item 4, notification of indebtedness. This is for the Hammond Area Rec District Number 1. Jim Ryan's not here tonight. I did speak to him on the phone, and we have Ryan Barker here with the park.
Yes, I hope I can do as well as Mr. Jim Ryan. So good evening, council. First, thank you for the opportunity to speak on behalf of the Hammond Area Recreation District. My name is Ryan Barker, I'm the Executive Director. Before I get into the indebtedness, I'd like to extend a sincere appreciation for your support and continued support over the CP Mitchell project and the programs, educational plus sports programs we're going to be able to provide to the children on Old Baton Rouge Highway and even out. So thank you very much for that. That's a big help to us. Get into it. Pleased to announce that our renewal election passed. It was 79% in favor of the Hammond Area Recreation District. So we were extremely excited about that. And then at our last board meeting, our board officially accepted the vote as is. And then I was told to read this verbatim. So with the current millage set to expire and our debt service on the bonds for the initial construction of Chapapilla Sports Park now fully paid off, we are planning the next steps. At next month's meeting, we will seek your permission to go into phase 2 for improvements and upgrades. And just one note, the bonds that we paid out are considerably larger than what we'll go into for the next phase of Chapapilla Sports Park and Hammond Area Recreation District. And if you've seen the news, we're going to start programming at Z Murray Park as well. So we'll have a broad stretch over the Hammond Area Recreation District moving forward. So
All right,
if you
any
have any questions, I
questions?
think I'll see you next month.
Ryan, we're going to go on record that the bleachers will be covered at the baseball fields. I'm just putting him on the spot.
Say yes, or what?
I got a
This is on
sunburn
the
out there a
record,
few
so I
weeks
don't
ago,
know
so-
here. Thank y'all again.
All right, thank you. Item number 5 is adoption of TP Ordinance 2417, an ordinance to amend Chapter 18, Fire Prevention and Protection, Section 18-3, Fire Prevention Bureau. This is recommendation by the DRC. We're just cleaning up some language in that ordinance.
That's a move.
I'll second.
All right, have a motion by Mr. Joseph, second by Mr. Havis. Roll call, please.
Mr. Ridgel.
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew.
Yes.
Mr. Wells.
Yes.
Ms. Hyde.
Yes.
Ms. Ciotat.
Yes.
Mr. Sinagra.
Yes.
Mr. Grappia.
Yes.
Mr. Joseph.
Yes.
Mr. Havis.
Yes.
All right, item 6, adoption of TP Ordinance 2418, an ordinance to amend Chapter 34, Offenses and Miscellaneous Provisions, Section 3416, prohibiting the sale of kratom and/or any of its analog in Tangipahoa Parish. This is also coming on a recommendation from the Development Regulations Committee. We have several people that want to speak on that item. You will be given 3 minutes, so please be respectful of that. The time will be up on the clock. The first one I have is Jeremy Anthony. Mr. Anthony, you have the floor.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening.
Good evening.
Y'all been seeing me on a pretty regular basis. And just want to appreciate y'all listening to me, listening to the people. But I was here in the last meeting and this kratom stuff come up. Does anybody, did we find out what it is?
What? What's the question?
What is it?
It's a leafy substance that comes from Southeast Asia.
We've got people here that'll speak on that in a few minutes.
Okay. Anyhow, you two councilmen over there, y'all may think I'm picking on y'all, but I'm not. I know y'all. I know where y'all come from. So I lean on y'all a little bit harder because I expect y'all got the same values as I do. But anyhow, when we were raised coming up in this part of the country, anything like that, and a lot of you gentlemen, when y'all were raised too, they caught you with a bag of weed or something, they'd tie you to the fence post and beat the fire out of you. Mr. Richard, I'm getting a grin out of you. And y'all know it's the truth. This stuff never come along in these stores when I was growing up. Why would we? I hope we ain't gonna allow nothing like this. I ain't gonna keep beating a dead horse. I'm gonna leave it alone, but y'all, please work on that.
All right, thank you for your comments. Next, we have Adam Peak.
Sure thing.
If you would, state your name and address.
My name is Adam Peak. I'm the owner of Bella Sunrise Smoke Shop in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, 6010 Jones Creek Road, Suite D. Main thing I wanted to come out and talk about today is that as a personal Kratom user and someone who has been around it for over 10 years now, roughly 4 to 5 times a month I'll take it. I'm currently under the influence of about 5 to 6 grams of green vein Mang dye. There's no purple elephants. I'm not trying to bite anyone's face. I'm perfectly articulate, and I'm happy to have a conversation with anyone that would like any more information about it. My customers range from first responders, veterans, anyone utilizing it as a means to quit alcohol, various other substance abuse. And just like anything else, it does have its potential abuses. I have my own personal experience that I find it far less dangerous than alcohol long term. But beyond a comparisonal argument, I would just rather say that beyond the scope of abuse, I don't see it fair that someone else's abuse of their rights should affect mine. As a responsible user, I would like to say that I don't need assistance. I'm not an addict. I am just here to speak my piece, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Mr. Peak. Okay, next we have Leanne Pearson. Please state your name and address.
Good evening, Council. I'm Leanne Pearson, 946 Tanglebriar Drive, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And I'm just here to give you all my anecdotal evidence. I'm not going to throw a bunch of facts or anything. I took 6 grams of Kratom this evening, and I would like to use my own anecdotal evidence to explain how helpful
Could you
this.
speak a little louder,
Pull
please?
the mic
Get it a little closer.
Sorry,
You can
I'm
move the
short.
whole thing.
Yeah, pull it closer. There we go. Sorry, I'll start over. Most of my life, I've had chronic pain, severe depression, and anxiety. I was on a laundry list of medications as a teen, most of which didn't help the issues. They made me feel more like a zombie than anything else. I wasn't in control of my life. When I discovered Kratom, I couldn't believe how it benefited me. Over time, I was able to completely stop all of my medications, including opioids. Kratom made that easy for me, and it truly helped me to become a functioning human. I couldn't afford to go to rehab, and if not for Kratom, I know that I wouldn't be before you guys today. Now I've taken it daily for nearly 10 years. It's saved my life as well as countless others, and it will continue to save lives as long as you don't ban it. There are 200,000 Kratom users in Louisiana alone, and I think we deserve to have a regulated product that will assist us in our healing. Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you. Okay, next we have Paul Schecksnyder.
How y'all doing tonight?
Please state your name and address.
Paul Schecksnyder, 1051 Tracy Avenue, Denham Springs, Louisiana. So I used to live in, I grew up in Ponchatoula, and like this gentleman said, you know, when you act up, you get your butt torn up. And I did get my butt torn up a lot. And I was also in and out of Tangipahoa Parish Jail when I come back from 2 tours in Afghanistan. Thank y'all, fellow Army myself. I ended up finding Kratom after, I think, my 3rd or 4th treatment center. A guy introduced it to me. That's been 6 years ago. 6 years ago, I've been without a drink, been without drugs, got my life back together. I'm actually a partner of this Kratom company that's in Livingston Parish. by the way, Livingston Parish did not ban kratom. I met with the council, and I was happy to see the council in Livingston Parish actually listened, and had some people on that board that fought to keep it legal. So it's still legal there. Yeah, this is kratom right here. This is basically like a pre-measured thing. All you do is everybody wants to know what kratom is. I'll let y'all know. So basically, a lot of people just mix it in with orange juice or water, and you shake it up, take it. But I watched the last hearing, and I guess the case was that the kids wanting to get a hold of this stuff. I tell you, I don't think kids want to get a hold of this, and it's really horrible tasting. Like it tastes like throw up. But so I will say, so Louisiana implemented SB 94. I've been to every hearing in Louisiana. I've been to Zachary, where they violated the First Amendment rights. I've been to Feliciana Parish, where they completely held a false hearing. They banned it without giving a 30-day notice. They realized that they didn't give a 30-day notice, so they held a hearing. They held a fake hearing. As soon as we left, that's when they held the real hearing. Louisiana implemented SB 94 last year, Klein Peters bill, which sets age restrictions in Louisiana. It is a law, 21 and above. And as far as packaging goes, where it was brought up last hearing that nothing's on the packaging, on here it tells you don't take with other substances, don't mix with any medications, including caffeine, gives a serving size, how much to take, don't take with heavy equipment, such like this.
All right, your time's up, Mr. Sexsnyder. We appreciate your input.
Yep, I'm just tired of tyranny.
Bridget, did you want to speak? Yeah.
Hi, I'm Bridget Bailey. I'm the Community Development Director for Tangipahoa Parish. And we have a community coalition that works with prevention and outreach, specifically for youth and substance abuse reduction. And this is a substance that comes from, it's an herbal supplement. There's lots of herbal supplements out there. The concern here is that it's not regulated at all. The milligrams per serving is not regulated. The packaging is not regulated. That every product that is produced, that's sold and available, isn't required to have any kind of directives on it about being a harm or interacting with other medications. There's no regulatory aspect as to saying what a true serving size, however many milligrams per serving, is recommended per adult. Yes, there are some things in place related to our youth. However, with the packaging, there's nothing that regulates how much, whether it's in edibles, it can be in drinks, and there are other states in the union, there's 12 states that has banned this because the FDA has not had a chance to scrutinize it to its full potential at this point in time. There's some research out there that says it could be beneficial, but there's not been enough data collected to do studies to see how beneficial it could be for those that have chronic pain, anxiety, depression. Those are some of the things that it's rated to actually have a benefit on, but there's no scientific evidence for studies that have been conducted that prove it effective or at what quantity. So with it being out there, some of these products have very high concentrations of the active ingredients. Others may be less potent, but the fact that it's available and can be grabbed on the way to a school function, anybody can walk in and purchase it because it's not been regulated to say it has to have this many milligrams in it or not, really can be a harm to those that are using this, unbeknownst to them that there could be issues that interact with other substances and medications they may be taken. So I think that was one of the reasons it was discussed at the Developmental Regulations Committee, about a month ago, that it was discussed with that aspect, with some of those concerns.
So it's not regulated. What is the SB 94 that this gentleman spoke of?
That's a state statute that actually takes the chemical compound and just basically says that any of those products are required to have an age limit for sale. But considering that the packaging is not regulated as to how do you put information about your herbal supplement on the packaging, it's not regulated federally. So other companies from China, East Asia, can send it into our state and sell it without having that information on the packet. So if you're going to try and regulate it for compliance, not every product has been regulated to actually have to have that on its packaging to identify those indicators, so that the stores and even enforcement agencies would know that that product can't be sold to anyone under the age of 21.
So it's not all, I mean, it could be in any kind of package, I guess.
Correct. None of it's regulated. That's something that the FDA actually dictates, and this has not been through the scrutiny of the FDA.
Mr. Joseph?
You finished, Jim?
Well, I do got one more question. You said that 12 states had banned it. I did a little internet research myself, and I'm no internet expert, but I found that 4 states, it's a Schedule I controlled substance. 12 states, it's regulated in some fashion, not banned. And then there's 34 states that it's neither controlled or regulated. Is that accurate, or?
I think so, yes. There are some states that actually have age limits on it and are trying to regulate it based off of their own criteria. Others have outright banned it because they really don't know how to manage the fact of how, again, the same issue that we may have is we have something on the books that dictates an age limit, but really there's no way to ensure that every product that would have this substance in it, have this herbal supplement in it, is labeled properly, because there's no guarantee that it's being shipped here with the right language on those packages.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, but do you know whether the FDA has approved kratom for any type of medical use at all? It has not?
No.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Go ahead, Mr. Wells.
Madam Chairman, I think this is a unique item, and I would like to see the council refer this item back to the committee, and so they can do further investigation and maybe look into age limits, labeling the package and whatever, and then report back to us. That would be my motion.
Mr. Mayhew?
Can you tell us why the FDA hadn't regulated it? It's a drug. According to a couple of people that spoke, they get benefits from it. Why haven't they regulated? Why they haven't regulated an age on it, or 21 at least, to purchase it?
Because usually their scrutiny and the research takes several years. So they have looked into some of those properties, but they don't have a conclusive product at this point. They are looking into the fact that it works on the same receptors that opioids do in the brain chemistry. It has some of those same properties, but it's not the same type of properties that opium would have, or any of the opioid derivatives that are created from natural plants, the poppy seeds.
Any product coming to this country from somewhere else should be regulated, shouldn't it?
But it's not. That's the issue with this. It's considered a supplement, an additive in a supplement, and it has not been scrutinized by the FDA, because usually you have to introduce that at the FDA. There's fees associated with it, and since they're not labeling it as a medication, they're not scrutinizing it to the nth degree. Usually it takes an issue with it being proposed to have health benefits, like, really such as the aspect of that they know that it causes mood-altering aspects, marijuana, some of the other substances such as that they will actually get involved and do the research. But again, their scrutiny takes anywhere between 6 to 10 years for them to do the research that they usually need to and to do the detailed studies to find either the health benefits for them to actually give a statement and released a paper on the benefits of properties or how they want it regulated and classified as a suggestion to Congress from federal regulations.
So there's no age limit. You could go walk, 15-year-old kid could go walk in a place and buy it.
Yes, sir.
10-year-old kid could. Please
Yeah.
don't speak if you're not at the podium.
It's available. Now, there is a state statute that says that you have to be 21 to purchase it. However, some of the substances that this is available in may say kratom, but if it doesn't have that legal name, the biological name on it, then if law enforcement agencies go in, they can't confiscate it.
I think at the least we should try to protect our young children from this. If it benefits somebody that going through pain and they're not having to take opioids, I wouldn't be against that, but we need to have some kind of regulation with age at least.
Mr. Joseph was next.
For the benefit of the council, I mentioned about the FDA, but the DEA, the Drug Enforcement Agency,
They actually requested that FDA do research on this substance.
yeah, well, they say it's a drug of, and chemical of concern. So whatever that means, I guess.
Yes, they recognize that it is harmful, and they're seeing some of the fallout from it, which is why they have actually put a formal request into the FDA to do the detailed study on this substance.
Which I think Mr. Wells made a very good point, though. Perhaps we need to do a little more digging and research and come back with something. That's all I have.
Mr. Davis.
Let me ask you, if we were to ban it, or any state that has banned it, order it, have it delivered to my house?
I'm sure you can.
So banning it, what does that do?
Well, I think it's access, meaning if you ban it, then your 12-year-olds aren't going to have the ability or the income to order it online and have it shipped to the house. At least, hopefully, not without their parents knowing about it. Whereas, if they're on their way or out with friends and they're going in a convenience store and grabbing some soft drink and some candy off the shelf, the aspect was all about access.
Yeah, I think I agree with Mr. Lewis and Mr. Wells.
Madam Chairman, I did make a motion at the end of my discussion. That motion was to refer it back to the committee.
And I would like to second Mr. Wells' motion. I think it's a good motion.
Right. I have a motion by Mr. Wells, second by Mr. Joseph, that we bring it back to our Development Regulations Committee. Yep, roll call, please.
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Ciotat?
Yes.
Mr. Sinagra?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Havis?
Yes.
Mr. Richtel?
Yes.
All right. Item 7, adoption of TP Ordinance 2420, an ordinance to amend Chapter 38, Solid Waste. This is coming from the Development Regulations Committee as well, and this refers to parish-wide garbage collection.
So moved. Second.
Have a motion by Mr. Ingraffia, second by Mr. Sinagra. Roll call, please.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Ciotat?
Yes.
Mr. Sinagra?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Havis?
Yes.
Mr. Richtel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Item 8, adoption of TP Ordinance 2421, an ordinance to acquire ownership of right-of-way for H. Cologne Road widening project in Laranja, to authorize the parish president to sign and execute all necessary documents, to provide for the recordation, and to provide copies to all involved parties. Kevin, did you have anything on that?
So moved.
Have a motion by Mr. Ingraffia,
Second, Madam.
Mr. Wells, second. Roll call, please.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Ciotat?
Yes.
Mr. Sinagra?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Havis?
Yes.
Mr. Richtel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Item 9, adoption of TP Ordinance 2422, an ordinance to acquire ownership of right-of-ways for the state project H 014265 North River Road Bridge over Irving Branch Bridge Replacement Project in Kentwood, to authorize the parish president to sign and execute all necessary documents, to provide for the recordation, and to provide copies to all involved parties. Anybody have a question on that?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Sinagra, second by Mr. Ingraffia. Roll call, please.
Ms. Ciotat? Mr. Sinagra?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Havis?
Yes.
Mr. Richtel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes. All right, item 10 will be pulled, but we still need to read it, and we need a motion to, Robbie, are we pulling it or tabling it?
Yeah, we can pull it.
Okay.
Just to explain, that property is going to more than likely be necessary for a drainage project that's coming down the road. We're working with the Army Corps of Engineers and consulting engineers, so we'll probably need that property to access.
Okay.
So move.
Second.
Let me read it first. Adoption of TP Ordinance 2423, an ordinance declaring surplus TPG asset miscellaneous 0243 22357 Brignac Road in Robert, assessment 2306603, to authorize the parish president and his designee to sign any and all documents in regard to the sale and transfer of this property in District 2. So we need a motion to pull this from the agenda.
So move.
Second.
I'm sorry. I had a motion, Mr. Joseph, you made the motion, correct?
Yes.
Motion by Mr. Joseph, second by Mr. Ingraffia. Roll call, please.
Mr. Sinagra?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Havis?
Yes.
Mr. Richtel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Ciotat?
Yes.
All right, the next item is introduction of TP Ordinance number 2419, an ordinance to amend and enact Chapter 36, Planning and Development, Article 8, Developments with Special Provisions, Section 36-220, General Standards, and Section 36-225, Solid Waste Disposal Facilities, C&D Sites. This,
We gonna table this
yes.
one? I wanna make a motion to table this.
All right.
Okay.
Was there any question? Okay, have a motion by Mr. Havis, second by Mr. Mayhew, by Mr. Ridgel, to table this item. We had on the agenda there would be a special called meeting and a public hearing on June the 12th at 5:30, so that meeting and that hearing will not take place. I have a motion by Mr. Havis, second by Mr. Ridgel. Roll call, please.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Havis?
Yes.
Mr. Richtel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Ciotat?
Yes.
Mr. Sinagra?
Yes.
All right. The next are resolutions. Item 12 is adoption of TP Resolution R2415, a resolution of the Tangipahoa Parish Council, President Government for Parker Branch Solar LLC to proceed with the permitting process for a renewable energy power plant in District 4. We have one person to speak, and that is Daniel Wallen. Daniel, if you would state your name and address, please.
Daniel Wallen, 130 Robert Street, Asheville, North Carolina. Good evening. I appreciate the opportunity to be here and the time you all have allowed me. To start off, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Daniel Wallen, and I'm a development project manager at Pine Gate Renewables. I directly oversee the development of the Parker Branch Solar Project. I do not have any formal materials prepared for this specific project, but I am here to answer any specific questions y'all may have or the public may have on this project. And I'm also here to respectfully request approval for Parker Branch to proceed with the permitting process. The TRC has reviewed our application and has determined that we have met all the specific requirements to proceed to the next phase. We appreciate the opportunity to be here, and please let me know if you have any questions.
Any questions? It's in Havis District.
It's in District 4. Mr. Daniel and his group came out to a little community event, about 3-4 weeks ago, with material for everybody to view. I thought it was a really good presentation of the area that it encompasses. It's, I mean, a lot of timberland, stuff like that. The ordinance that you guys wrote year before last, I think is a excellent ordinance that addresses this with the 500-foot setbacks, the 50-foot buffer zone around it, just everything that goes with it. I don't see anything, plus TRC, I mean, all the boxes are checked, everything is good with it. I'd make the motion to approve them to go after their permit.
Have a motion by Mr. Havis,
Second.
second by Mr. Sinagra. Roll call, please.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Havis?
Yes.
Mr. Richtel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Ciotat?
Yes.
Mr. Sinagra?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Item 13, adoption of TP Resolution 2416, a resolution of the Tangipahoa Parish Council / President Government for the certification of Natalbany Fire Department in the Fire Prevention Bureau.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion by Mr. Ridgel, second by Mr. Joseph. Roll call, please.
Mr. Havis?
Yes.
Mr. Richtel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Ciotat?
Yes.
Mr. Sinagra?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Right. Item 14, adoption of TP Resolution R2417, a resolution of the Tangipahoa Parish Council / President Government to extend the moratorium TP Ordinance Number 24-05 for 90 additional days on the consideration and/or approval of all developments of construction and demolition debris sites within Tangipahoa Parish. We've looked at this ordinance, spent a lot of time on it. We still feel like there's some things that we need to tweak, so we're asking for the 90-day moratorium to be extended an additional 90 days. We don't feel like it'll take us that much time, so once we get the ordinance back on the agenda and get it adopted, that moratorium will end.
And I agree with extending the moratorium. Like you said, it's close, just needs a little bit more tweaking. I'll make that motion.
And I'll second.
Okay, have a motion by Mr. Havis, second by Mr. Joseph. I will comment, this is kind of the same process we went through with the solar ordinance, and, you know, we've got parishes all over the state that are modeling their ordinance after ours, so we just want to be sure that we're getting a really good ordinance in place for this issue also. So if you would call roll, please.
Mr. Richtel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Ciotat?
Yes.
Mr. Sinagra?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Havis?
Yes.
All right, beer, wine, and liquor.
None.
Legal matters? None. Councilman's privileges. Mr. Ingraffia?
Back to the kratom. I suggest you guys and women talk to your local law enforcement, narcotics agency, and listen to what they have to say about it. Because they got some real interesting stories.
Any other councilman's privileges?
Yes, I just want to
Mr.
thank
Joseph?
you all and all the citizens in this parish for not forgetting about our service member who gave all. Thank you.
Any others? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. Wells, you want to do the honors?
Madam Chair, I move that we adjourn this meeting.
Second.